He's produced all 23 of them. He's also a member of the Redondo Odd Fellows and also the Silver Crest Rebecca Lodges. He's, again, like I said, the producer of our show, but he's also one of America's foremost balloon sculptors. Please welcome Dennis Farrell.
If you don't mind, I'm going to warm up my hands on the ever so traditional, yet sometimes thought of as disgusting, French poodle. Well, if you were impressed by that, you're going to be amazed by this. This was my favorite. This is a Canadian giraffe. This giraffe comes from Okanagan, British Columbia, Canada. It's a real place. They go place there. Now, my giraffe is like all giraffes, eats tree leaves. In Africa, they eat acacia tree leaves. I know because, well, I checked. But this guy comes from where they grow apples, pretend it's green, they grow Granny Smiths. Pretend that's yellow, it's a giraffe. Every now and then, besides the tree leaf, they eat the apple. Just the giraffes hate to chew their food. So every now and then, they swallow the apple. This is okay because giraffes are like cows and goats and lambs and llamas. They're ruminants. They have more than one stomach. They chew their cud. I know it sounds disgusting. But it means if this guy had come from Okanagan, this would be a true story. Hey, would you not take this? This is actually the cutest thing I make. This is a mouse. And the truth is, it has absolutely, positively no story to go with it. It is just plain the cutest thing. Now, if that's the cutest thing I made, this, in my opinion at least, is the most artistic of all the designs that I've made. Now, when one talks about art, one talks about line, form, shape, and curve. This particular design encompasses all of those features. The design itself is a ring or a mountain rose with full horns. Oops. You remember all the old Moana movies? Dead Owl Richard. You're welcome. I want to do for you guys my 3 favorite mistakes. Not one of these 3 turned out to be what they were supposed to be. And all 3 of these were supposed to be frogs. First time I tried to do a frog, I was with my mother in a plant shop. She grows plants by a very unique method. Intimidation. She yells, they turn green. Well, while I was with her, I saw this planter that looked just like a frog. And I figured if I were able to duplicate the shape of the planter, I would be able to duplicate the animal itself. The irony of my life is that while I was able to duplicate the shape of the planter, I got a completely different animal. Instead of a frog, if you couldn't guess it yet, I ended up with a turtle. You do red sweatshirt right there. Second time I decided to work on a frog. Instead of the rounded shape of that turtle, I decided to start with the head. Truth is, the moment I got my head together, I realized once again, no frog. I was actually beginning to feel like a failure when I remembered that I am a graduate of the California elementary school system, which teaches you you're never a failure, just that you have to have a fresh perspective on things. And with that fresh perspective, I realized that somehow frogs, turtles, and this hippopotamus somehow all have to be related. Let me see. Okay, both of you come right here. Okay, one of you take this one. The other one stick around. Take care of this the easy way. Now, there are people out there who will tell you that the 3rd time is the charm. I'm here to tell you those people are not always right. Though I do believe in try again. 3rd time I decided to work on a frog, I decided to find one small, little, teeny tiny detail that everybody in the world will be able to recognize. I decided to start with the eyes. Truth is, the moment I finished them, I found out I didn't have eyes. I had lips. And worse than anything else, they were not frog lips. They were, to tell the truth, fish lips. These things were so solidly fish lips, I decided to abandon my efforts in the frog in order to bring you the fish. From the tail to the lips. Out of balloons, I follow 5 basic rules. This next design is a horse, and it encompasses all 5 rules. Rule 1: never blow the balloon up all the way. Rule 2: never tie your knot too tight. Notice what I did. I just got my fingers out of the way. I did not pull. I did not yank. Rule 3: start from the knot and work away from it. That way the air has somewhere to go. Rule 4, somewhere along the way you've got to take a pair of twists, whether they're the opposite sides of the same knot, or a pair of twists that are much further apart, and put them together, if you can, a full 360 degrees, which means all the way around. Rule 5. Be careful. Hey, it's an important rule. Now I know this still looks like a dog. And that's because I have to go back to Rule 2. Rule 2 was never tie your knot too tight. You pinch that side of the knot, roll the knot out, let some air by, you get the muzzle. Okay. Like the time. This is a dinosaur. This used to be known as a Brontosaurus, but as of 18 years ago, the Brontosaurus never existed. It is a serious science. 18 years ago, a pair of scientists down at San Diego State University were studying the bones of the Apatosaurus. Now, for those of us who thought we knew our dinosaurs, the Apatosaurus was just a little bit shorter and a little fatter. Okay, we're being scientific. A little shorter and a little broader than the Brontosaurus. Now, for some reason, these guys down at San Diego State University took the bones of the Apatosaurus and put them under an electron microscope. And when they did that, they figured out the bones of the Apatosaurus were crushed. They were so convinced that they went over to Scripps Medical Institute, a very famous hospital down in the center, grabbed themselves a pathologist, and for those of you who do not know, those are the people who study dead bodies. And they said, check it out. And he did. And he said, you're right. These bones are crushed.